Welcome to Rumbo Minero. Hey, Cesar, how are you?
It's a pleasure, Jorge.
My name is Jorge Leon, and along with Cesar Campos, we are going to develop this program that is starting now. Obviously, in the election period, we want to know what the presidential candidates are looking for, what they possess regarding mining, what is their plan concerning mining. Let's see if they know anything, and also to see what measures are you taking to guarantee widespread public awareness of mining, ensuring every citizen is informed about something so crucial?
That's right. And for that, we have General Roberto Chiabra, presidential candidate for the Unity Alliance, as our guest. On a national level, in a week that was marked, Jorge, by this sudden and unexpected fall, wouldn't you say, in the price of gold, as well as the current quotation for silver. And even with that, experts are stating naturally because of a contingent matter, since President Donald Trump wishes to replace the chairman of the Federal Reserve, Jerome Powell. And this might have created a little confusion in the market. However, there are still optimists who anticipate a recovery. These are the subjects that we will explore in this discussion. Rest assured, we will cover them thoroughly.
Certainly, we will include José Gonzáles in the coverage as well. Of course, that goes without saying. To start our interview, we invite you to participate in the presentation prepared by the Mining Direction team. Your presence is much appreciated.
With 2 months until the general elections of April 2026, the economy has become one of the central themes of the campaign. Amid low growth and significant uncertainty, presidential candidates are seeking to win over a hesitant electorate. With promises of increased public investment and a strong push for mining, a sector that has sustained the country's economic stability in recent years. It is widely acknowledged that Peru's infrastructure is lacking progress and crucial projects needed to catch up with others, indicating a clear gap that needs to be addressed promptly. In the mining sector, 75% of candidates suggest moving past just exporting concentrates, focusing on creating more added value. This holds significance as numerous minerals from Peru are essential for the worldwide shift towards sustainable energy sources. This is the reason behind the proposals, which are focused on drawing in technology, enhancing industrialization, establishing additional processing facilities, and bolstering local suppliers. Above everything else, make sure that the benefits are distributed to the communities efficiently through effective fee management. The challenge for the next government will be to turn discourse into results. Lacking political stability, clear regulations, and a strong stance against illegal mining, these promises will likely not lead to investment, jobs, and sustainable growth.
Well, thank you very much for the report to the Rumbo Minero team. As you all are aware, he is currently present in our studios, and we are keen to learn about the strategies in place for the mining operations of all the candidates running for President of the Republic. And joining us right now is Mr. Roberto Chiabra, who is the presidential candidate representing the National Unity Alliance Party. Welcome, Chiabra.
Good morning. Hope your day starts well.
Hey there, Mr. Chiabra. Well, we have been able to see various proposals in recent days. We are going to begin with the subject that National Unity sustains, that their proposal relies on the free market. As a model, what are the essential changes required to establish clear and efficient regulations for private investments? The focus should be on structural reforms, which would be the impetus to strengthen. Let's start with competitiveness in Peru.
Look, if there's one thing that all small, medium, and large business owners complain about, it's bureaucracy. There is a bureaucracy that generates corruption, which causes longer times and higher costs. Without streamlining bureaucracy, the impact of any regulation implemented will be rendered ineffective. This impacts competitiveness as any potential investor notices the delays. He becomes aware that he is experiencing a slight delay. He does not possess a program where they can state that this investment I plan to make, the entire procedure required to achieve it will take me such a long duration. They will certainly not be interested in investing. Investing in uncertainty of time and cost is avoided by everyone.
Indeed, it is accurate. However, as you are aware, Peru was recently brought to the forefront during the latest gathering. Well, the conference, organized by CAF in Panama and attended by a diverse group of business leaders, remains at the forefront of driving growth in the region. They just gave the Peruvian export number. Over 90 billion, it beats 23% in the year 2024. Mining continues to lead in that general aspect. How can we strengthen the topic of appreciating our exports? As you correctly mentioned, It's not only about selling specific packages to draw in investment, but also about making structural changes. This assures investors of our country's reliability, boosting their confidence.
Look, if we touch upon the specific topic of mining, the world today faces a scenario of risks, of challenges and opportunities. What is the opportunity in the world today? This energy shift and the process of digitalization. What is considered a strong point of Peru? It possesses geological potential and a mining background. It has a well-known culture, a mining tradition. What does it lack? A clear objective. If Peru, right now, it stands as the world's third leading producer, trailing only Chile and Congo. Why don't you have a goal of being number one? In my government plan, I have hegemony in the South Pacific, the region's top tourist destination, and the world's leading copper producer. What is crucially missing is an ambitious target, as having such a goal will drive the formulation of policies to reach it. The question now is, how do we approach this challenge? We are reducing bureaucracy and simplifying administration. This involves time and costs. When it comes to discussing the economy, competition is essential. Who is our copper industry up against? Perhaps Chile's? The lifespan of a mining project in Chile ranges from 15 to 20 years, while in Peru, it can extend up to 60 years. We presented our rival with a gift, 30 to 60 years. Then you have exploration. We cannot make the same mistake. That has occurred in Bolivia and Argentina, where they failed to explore for gas. Just look at how they are doing. We must encourage exploration. Exploring new mines is vital. We should focus on more than just prolonging the lifespan of current ones. Then we need to consolidate all these projects that are underway, unlock the projects, 70 projects that are stuck and we are not moving forward with.
Now, there is a point that needs to be addressed, which is the issue. Social conflict is very much linked to water. Nowadays, we see that 5%, 95% of the rainwater we receive is wasted. It ends up in the ocean. And we are fighting over the 5%. The issue of reservoirs is urgent, right? There are mining companies that have built reservoirs. There are some municipalities and regional governments that have built reservoirs. And it has been a total success. But we don't have the reservoir culture. That is in the Andes, in many places in Peru. If there were reservoirs available, the issue would be resolved. And there would be a much better coexistence established between the field of agronomy and mining. What should be our next course of action?
Notice that we have truly initiated a conflict between participants. Although different industries like farming, mining, fishing, and tourism coexist, each has its own strengths contributing to their unique ecosystems. All four must grow. Let's not talk about a mining country or an agricultural country or a tourist country. When we do that, we are dividing. Let's bring the four together. How can we achieve this? We need to take a significant step forward in mining. We cannot focus on individual projects. Interregional cluster. One in the north and one in the south. If you have the mine in Cajamarca, Lambayeque, La Libertad, and Ancash, a single collaborative project. And in the south, Apurimac, Arequipa, and Moquegua, another collaborative project. Better use of water and energy. It reduces the environmental footprint. You have integrated logistics. You hold the communications and share them with the communities. There are vast opportunities waiting to be seized, but it all begins with collaborative efforts. Let's focus on the essential task at hand, water harvesting and resolving all related issues. But let's start. If we have several isolated mining companies in their execution, each one presents the problems you mentioned. We unite them all in a joint project, and it will feel like one community. What needs to be changed? Two things. You cannot enforce it. Persuasion is necessary for compliance. Citizens must persuade Dear Aunt Maria to support the cause. Why have we taken so long to implement Tia Maria, which is now at 24%? Because neither of them was convinced. The mine that didn't comply with the requirements and the population it had, that is what you are pointing out. It will contaminate my environment, my water, and I will have agricultural problems. Why has it changed? Because people have realized they need growth, and with what they have, they will not grow. I refer to mining town, port town, and agricultural town. Cities must expand at a pace equal to that of the mining operations. It's patas. Pataz is the gold capital of Peru. Pataz is in need of infrastructure such as roads, hospitals, universities, and schools, as it currently lacks them. So if you were to implement this where there are mining operations, you would see a growth that would be reflected in others who have a natural resource and would say, I also want them to come and invest in my community. Look at the benefit they have, for example, in Pataz. I live in Pataz, look how well. That shift, mining with well-being and that consolidated, integrated work from the mines, you will see how everything changes.
General, a moment ago you spoke of objectives, and it reminds me that you, being a military man, are an expert in security matters. Today, international and national security is based on all that is mining development. Terms like critical minerals and rare earths have already entered the language of government programs. From this viewpoint, how could security in your government plan? How can we enhance Peru's strategic importance in the production of critical minerals needed for the energy transition and rare earth elements essential for various industries?
The initial encounter took place, followed by a visit from the Chancellor and subsequently a meeting regarding rare earth minerals in the US. The United States already places an importance on having those sources of, that is why you see it in relations with Ukraine. Peru has those rare minerals, Brazil does too. Peru has great potential to succeed. What Peru needs is to make a decision. Peru's potential cannot remain just potential forever. We must turn it into reality soon. If we delay action, we risk being surpassed by others. It's a situation comparable to the importance of lithium. Lithium from Bolivia, Argentina, and Chile is discussed, but Peru's lithium is ignored. We have it here. Yes, so we have a company there where the years still pass. So we don't have that decision. But the decision doesn't just rest with the government. It also involves convincing that population that lives there, lives with the lithium, lives with the rare earths, and telling them, check out the benefits. We must win the narrative. Change is necessary. Who are our adversaries? The NGOs that resist new mining operations, the ideology that freezes the mines that are underway, the organized crime that is driving away the miners. You have illegal mining, invading the mines, and the bureaucracy.
Okay.
These are the factors that hinder mining from reaching the development we all desire. Moreover, there hasn't been a government that has prioritized mining in the economy so far. What does mining mean for the economy? Nobody explains it to you. No government plan talks about mining because they are afraid of what? We have, as a strategy, as I mentioned, as a national aim we want to reach the top producer of copper globally. With all we possess in the northern and southern clusters, we can achieve it. What are we missing? That decision that I tell you we will have.
Let's take a commercial break to continue, please. But before that, don't forget, Expo Mina, the big mining fair in September. Watch out, in September mining month, Expo Mina BBB is going to take place. You can see it. www.expominaperu.com. Purchase your booth now. There aren't many stands left. The more than 1,180 stands have already passed. It's the Great Peruvian Mining Party this September. Let's pause for a quick commercial break and then we'll continue with the interview. Very well. We are continuing our studies here with General Chiabra. Mr. Chiabra, as you know, mining represents 10% of the GDP, 60% of exports. It is very important. You caution against division, but this country is renowned for its mining industry. It also thrives on exporting agriculture products and drawing tourists. We certainly have an abundance, don't we? Well, hold on a second. However, to achieve that goal you mentioned about copper, we are faced with the task of making decisions, many of which are connected to the workings of Congress. Congress, for example, the committee of the Commission, for instance, the Energy and Mines Commission. Over half of it is filled with people who are questioning matters concerning illegal mining operations. As Congresswoman Diana González explained to us right here, they arrive for what they want, then depart. Thus, they come for their own interests and then go away. How will you coexist with Congress if you are a potential president? What is the key to coexisting and moving forward with genuine legislation like the proposed MAPI law instead of the ineffective re-info? To start being able to take, let's put it that way, naively along with Congress so that they are able to. Is the goal to support mining in a way that benefits all Peruvians as we move forward in a united direction?
Choose well on April 12th. Your statement is indeed accurate. Just as there are within the 130 Congress members sectors that support the teachers, the health sector, there are also those from mining. But we have noticed that mining, not illegal but informal, is a topic. Then, when you observe that the greater part of the individuals of the Congress members who constitute this commission are precisely those who they forced us to make some decision, not because they wanted to extend the reinforcement indefinitely. The info matter is already a social problem. I think the formalization is being handled poorly. You cannot implement just one strategy to formalize all of Peru. Informal mining is different. In Nanay, Patas, Madre de Dios, Puno, and Arequipa, each region presents a unique reality that sets them apart from one another. I support formalizing it in the following way. You cannot have committees. You have seen the committees in the executive, the legislative, 50 people. Everyone talks and we get nowhere. It failed when regional governments were given responsibility because they had direct interests. It has already failed now that it has been given to the Ministry of Energy and Mines, placing officials who are uninformed and lack will. What should we do? I would like a reservation for a table for 3, please. The informal miners with a concession, the concession owners, and the referee, which is the Ministry of Energy and Mines, divided by sectors. To Patas, which is a mining operation, which is the current example. This has been happening for some time. What has changed? The violence. The violence, if there were no violence, it would go on as it used to. So what does the concession owner say? These informal miners are currently working in that location. Ensure that young individuals meet their societal responsibilities by offering them job opportunities. Cesar, we must acknowledge that they are taking advantage of those 30-year-olds who are consuming large amounts of mercury. It's concerning. Do those young people have job security, healthcare, and retirement benefits? They have nothing. If you saw your children attending private schools, university, or living in a nice house, you would probably agree that it's acceptable. They are not bettering their quality of life, and they need to be told that. Those who profit the most are the ones selling the gold and becoming millionaires. Before there were 4 companies, now there are about 4,000. That's where you should focus. It is necessary for them to demonstrate that the gold being sold by them is obtained legally. We must inform them that individuals are being taken advantage of by exploitation. Who fixes the environmental impact? The formal miners, the concession owner, they must take responsibility. 500,000. But what do the informal miners say? We are going for a 50-50 agreement. All right, let's change it. 70-30, 80-20, but assume those 2 things. There must be both sides, there must be, but specifically like that. Otherwise, we won't move forward. The other thing, I went to Madre de Dios, I tell the governor, listen, you criticize him because he doesn't formalize anyone. But they say that alluvial mining is against the law. And there is all illegal mining because it is alluvial. And everything they do. How can we address that social order issue? What other form of beneficence, what other sense of earning a living does that group of people possess? In the year 2007, after regaining control, military units were sent to move all miners. They found nothing left for the miners to consider as their home. Nothing at all. There is another way to combat this.
Regarding Petroperu, General Chiabra, you have stated that the strategic participation of a private partner up to 49% is necessary, always preserving for the Peruvian state the 51%. Could you specify with greater detail the exact procedure you would implement for selecting that strategic partner to ensure sound governance and prevent the shifting of associated costs and risks? The bureaucracy that you often criticize in the state company has always held significant meaning.
Here we observe how the state, utilizing pro-inversión, has contracted a company for a specific purpose. We must all acknowledge the fact that all of us need to recognize this. It cannot remain a long-term financial obligation, nor can we eliminate it either. The issue passes, the issue because we require participation from private capital. But for what? That needs to be determined. However, we must not depend solely on our strategic assets. Thus, our reliance should not be limited. Peru must continue to maintain majority ownership, 49 to 51. The crucial missing piece is identifying the responsible party. May I ask where you are originally from? The responsible element is never brought up. Who is accountable? Board recommendations? No, only them. Who appointed them? Because if you have a company as important to the country as other countries do, what are other countries doing? The southern neighbor, which also has its public companies. A profile for every official that the new administration must comply with. One profile. Not that you lessen the conditions. And second, do not allow those whom you designate to fail their tasks. To act freely and see how we are doing. We are slowly coming to the realization that bankruptcy is a process that takes time, not an overnight occurrence. Therefore, it is crucial to ensure that the procedure being followed is carried out responsibly and with care. Therefore, when we are in charge of administering something that belongs to the state, accountability must always be enforced. If accountability fails to arrive, then everyone acts as they please. Some have been leaders and executives for many years. They speak as if they are good, yet they are responsible for this disaster.
Thank you very much, General Chiabra, for being with us on Rumbo Minero to present your plan regarding mining. And we hope to have you on another occasion.
Thanks.
Okay, let's move now to the society and mining block with Iván Arenas. Go ahead.
In May 2025, the U.S. Trade Office accused Peru via a social media post, X, maintaining its stance against unfair trade practices, for the damage to its businesses due to illegal mining impacting Peru as well as Brazil, Colombia, and Ecuador. It clearly states that these nations are inactive. We have a new ambassador. From the United States, Mr. Bernardo Navarro, who knows Peru very well and whose wife is also Peruvian. And besides that, we have a figure. From some institutions, some are of the opinion that Peru could potentially export around $12 billion worth of minerals through illegal mining, as estimated by certain think tanks. Pay attention to what is happening, what is going on. The U.S. is closely monitoring illegal mining activities, especially focusing on the United States. In the networks they have established with Peruvian politics, Jose Heri is involved in that which is called Chifagate, with informal and illegal Chinese business people who are also accused of illegal mining. Important to note, the United States is monitoring Peru and is watching illegal mining and is also keeping an eye on this illegal mining, would essentially be washing money in certain financial hubs of the northern nation. Pay attention to what is happening in the United States and Peru. Not by chance, the new ambassador has said that they are going to eat Chinese food. All of the United States is watching closely who is behind. Concerning the issue of illegal mining, its rampant nature, and its penetration into political circles, news regarding illegal mining will be a prominent topic in the forthcoming elections. And above all, we will discover the individuals or groups who provide financial support to the candidates and political parties. We will continue discussing all of this in the upcoming editions here on Rumbo Minero. Thank you very much.
Well, moving into our segment, America Mining, we will connect directly with José Gonzáles, our international editor of the magazine, Rumbo Minero. Prior to introducing him and expressing my welcome, Jose, I have a question for you and would like to extend my warm welcome to you. What happened with the money and the gold? Some are talking about the price being readjusted, but there has been a noticeable decline, especially after we had grown accustomed over the past several years to it constantly increasing and climbing higher and setting new records. There was a drop. In these days, in these weeks, please explain to us what has happened and what the future holds.
Thank you very much, Jorge, for our conversation last week regarding the remarkable surge in silver prices, and supported by gold in January when silver went up 60%. Within days, silver swiftly dropped by 33% from 116.6 cents to 77.57, marking a significant correction. Nevertheless, it has managed to recover up to 11% levels, and throughout the week it was quoting at 86% for the ounce. The very same factors that fueled that 60% surge, including the uncertainty surrounding the nomination of the Federal Reserve's head, as well as the president's looming threat. Trump's threat to levy tariffs on the European Union and the rising tensions with Iran. With that resolved, this correction happened. Conversely, Chinese investors engaging in speculative buying and selling have also contributed to the market volatility. This activity has had a noticeable impact on the fluctuations seen in the market. However, the immediate recovery of silver thereafter got fine thereafter. It's important to note that in January, the net profit is still positive, even with a 60% loss taken into consideration. A 60% profit, where half is lost and some is regained, continues to show that the dynamics affecting silver are stable. We previously noted that the volatility would be high because of the limited stock in the London market, implying potential price fluctuations. The price of gold rose to $53.81 per ounce and later dropped to $46.39, representing a decrease of 13%. But it recovers to levels of 6%, maintaining quotes close to 4,900, $2 a week, amounting to record levels that are still being maintained. The key factor supporting gold in the foreseeable future, specifically this year, is the demand from central banks. JP Morgan maintains that gold prices could surpass $6,000 this year and reach levels of even $8,500 in the future, in the coming years ahead. Experts generally agree that the price of gold is expected to stay consistent in the market. Copper remains stable within a very tight range of volatility, but maintains an important quote at levels of $5.9 per pound, very close to that target of $6 per pound that was expected during the year and not so soon in the year. Once more, the interplay of profitable actions and underlying structural influences.
Jose is smaller in size compared to gold and silver, yet equally precious. Furthermore, the quotation for crude oil experienced a rather minimal decline, particularly affecting the price of Brent. Please provide an explanation of the factors leading to this and discuss its effects on the energy market dynamics.
The Brent that had remained very, very stable at levels of $60 a barrel, analysts noted that the oil market reached a balance between supply and demand, which remained stable despite the events in Venezuela on January 3rd. This equilibrium was maintained throughout the period. Practically not a single cent, and yet he has earned 11% so far this year. It went from quoting at 60.67, and the reason why Brent has risen 11% and doesn't tend to give it up is because of the tensions in Iran. Iran produces 3 million barrels, and China buys 98% of that oil, and if conflict arises in Iran, China would need to go out and seek that petroleum in alternative markets, which would certainly affect the current quotations. Tensions, however, are easing as the United States is set to meet with representatives from Iran in Oman, and it is expected that the tensions will decrease. Tensions, they are diminished in the short term. This could potentially cause a small adjustment in oil prices, but they are not expected to fall below 60, a level they've maintained in the recent months.
Thanks to José Gonzáles for his consistent support. We will address the following subjects. You have the potential to attract an increasing number of readers to our magazine, both in print and online. This has the potential for significant growth. Because you have this information for free at www.rumbominero.com, you will be able to download the magazine every 45 days with the specific information provided by our Rumbo Minero team. So let's take a commercial break and we will return. Well, now reaching the end of the program, we are inviting and summoning all presidential candidates to come to Rumbo Minero and present their mining strategies for the public to evaluate and understand. What is the mining plan for your potential presidency? We called Carlos Alvarez, Keiko Fujimori, Spa, Forsyth, Acuña, Lopez Aliaga, and all those who are missing. Because we have now interviewed Chiabra, and I truly believe it is very productive to hear what the plans are. I prefer the order and dialogue, which is a bit of what he aimed to incorporate into the discussion of illegal mining.
And sustainable development in addition to all extractive industries. And fighting against the demonization that is currently being leveled against the mining industry, I believe that Chiabra has a very clear understanding of matters in this respect.
Yes. Also, you will be able to compare, just as with other topics, but this is the mining issue, you will be able to compare the different presidential candidates and see what is the best in the mining sector, which is so important for the country's development. Thank you very much, Cesar, for being with us. My name is Jorge Leon, and together with Cesar Campos, we have developed this very important mining program. And we look forward to seeing you next Saturday at 8:25 in the morning on Willax Television.